Good day, my friends, and welcome to episode 10 of my Factorio Vanilla playthrough series. My name is Icon, and wow, we're in the double digits today. Quite surprised about that. And like I promised last episode, I did some homework. So I didn't take everything away, all the fun. No, don't worry. I just did some ungrateful tasks to begin with. So I think the copper one we built last episode, yeah. So what I did here was nothing too special. I started exploiting the whole iron ore patch, and now I am in possession of 2 complete iron ore smelting columns. And because I wanted to start with steel next, I felt like now is the perfect time to start with a new episode, because creating steel is a little bit of a different process compared to the other plates. Just want to set up a little radar before we get started. And after we have the steel business finished, I hope there's enough time to get into the electronic circuit business next. So these are the topics for today: electronic circuits and steel. So, and if you want to support this channel a little bit, and if you like this content, just drop a subscription onto the channel. Turn on the notifications if you want to. Doesn't matter that much. The subscriptions matter much more. They help me growing the channel and making more and more awesome content for you, my friends. But enough of that. We're now sitting here. I have this wonderful array of 2 iron smelter columns here, and now we're going to begin smeltering steel. Steel is a little bit more complicated. If we look up the recipe for steel, it's going to be made out of 5 iron plates in a time of 16 seconds. The wonderful thing here is if we take the time of iron plates, the time necessary for 1 iron plate times 5, we get exactly 16 seconds. So this ends in the following equation that I set it up here. If we want to consume 15 iron plates per second, we need the exact same amount of smelters for each and everybody. And if it doesn't make sense yet, it will make in a moment. But before that, we're going to set up a new array of miners. What I'm going to produce today is a array which will produce steel, 3 steel plates per second. 15 steel plates per second would need right now 6 complete belts of iron ore to feed that thing constantly. Or no, 5, I'm sorry, not 6, it's 5. We're far away from being able to satisfy such a gargantuan machinery, and whenever that happens, I really like to tone down my machinery to a smaller array, which makes somehow sense. So here I'm trying to sling down around 30 of the miners. Again, I'm trying to build a few more than 30 to ensure that this belt will not run dry once the first miners have depleted the patch. But this patch here is having almost 10 millions of iron ore in it, so it's going to take a whole lot of time longer to deplete one of those little patches here. But eventually everything gets depleted. But that's going to be another day's topic. So for now, I'm just doing what I did so often, building up some belts. And oh, I noticed in the episode before that I'm running low on power poles. So let me fetch some wood in between. So you don't in vanilla game you can't produce wood on your own. So you have to rely on your tree friends here to get that stuff going. Later on, I won't be using the power poles, which facilitate wood anymore too much. We're going to use other and more effective things made out of iron, steel, and copper later. But for now, I just wanted to pick up a bunch. Oh, that's bad. Shift left click to abort and shift left click to assign a whole stack, but I want to do it in pieces of 5, which I achieve with a right click. This is because I want to make sure that I'll have enough power poles to connect that little thingy here. And of course I'm defending this little patch again with some turrets, because I'm not that naive to believe that the biters will stay away forever. So I have to keep in mind though that all my turrets that I placed down are very, very weakly ammunitioned. So my plan here is to smelt the steel over here. I don't want to get into the business here. This place here is going to be reserved for copper and iron, so maybe we're going to delete this mark here now and replace it. Usually I'm not that kind of a tidy person, but I thought for this vanilla playthrough it might be very nice to have markers here. So I plan to produce my steel over here. That's my plan. Alright, so we got that. Let's drop down the power. Looking forward to the times when I have little robots doing my bidding here. Then we won't have to place things down manually anymore. It's a double-edged sword. At some point I start missing hand building things again. And that's the point where I like to start a new game again, and then the cycle begins all over again. Well, Factorio is a wonderful game in itself. It's a very satisfying core game loop. Something you can't say about every game nowadays. But that didn't come from nothing. This game has been polished for I don't know how many years. And in the forums of the game, it was they even made a little GIF meme about the topic when Factorio 1.0 will be released. Quite a funny thing. Now they finally made it. Very happy about that. Okay, but enough of the storytelling. Now we have what we need. So how many miners do I have connected here? 37. I forgot to tuck in that one at the top, but I noticed it in time. Alright, so now we're going to have some fun. Like the last time, I'm going to split off my iron into 2 belts, because we're going to do a very similar thing, like with the other columns. So first off, I'm going to grab some coal and split it off towards there. There we go. Because we're needing the fuel. And today I'm going to show you a few one other method of splitting your iron and coal into each other. So I showed you the version where you have to I was using this method here the most of the time, where I first off use a splitter to force the ore on one side of the belt and ignore the other side of the belt, and then I use the T-merger to shove in the coal in here. So there is another method which is quite common and very useful. So first off, I'm going to make, of course, 2 systems out of that, because we need 2 supplies. But I'm not going to make the same mistake that I did before again. This time we're going to place down the smelter array, and then we're going to manage the logistics, because I did that wrong the last time. So with steel, you do a little bit of a different maneuver. I think I'm going to leave this area here blank. I'll just cut a imaginary line here to leave this open for logistics. I really can't recommend it enough to leave space in your factory. Leave open spaces which you can facilitate later on with wonderful and tasty spaghetti, which makes your factory grow. What I mean with that is if you're building in a way that you're having enough room, you're not going to suffer problems when you've forgotten something to fiddle in. When you have room, you can work with it. So the basic way of working will be here like this. Steel is made by inputting iron ore into the first smelter, and the next smelter is just getting the finished iron plates and getting it dropped in here, where it does make steel out of it and it does output it here. So the only problem there is we're going to have a input belt which is mixed with iron and coal on this side, but we don't have any chance of supplying this thing with fuel whatsoever from this side. So there is going to be one side of the machinery. Here's going to be coal, which feeds the steel furnaces. Doesn't make sense yet. It will in a minute, don't worry. So here we go. This is the one thing. And of course, we're going to control copy and mirror that onto the other side, because this is exactly going to be the same thing here. But the only difference here lies in the arrangement of the inserters. That's wrong here. We need one inserter to pick up the coal. Always remember, the arrow shows where the inserter is headed, and the line shows where it takes from. And we need, of course, here on this side, the long-handed inserter to put the steel onto this side. So this is going to be a little bit more complicated. Well, I don't want to call it complicated. I'd rather prefer to call it sophisticated. This is one of the first more sophisticated recipes to produce things. So we, of course, have to put that into a larger perspective. So this comes in clusters of these. And now we're going to fill it with resources. So what I wanted to show here was another really beautiful thing. Let's cut them here again, like I thought. They're not going to be that useful. All right, so let's think for a moment. I'm going to use, yeah, okay. So I'm going to have it, I think I'm going to have the splitter over here. Okay, so we're doing a wonderful thing right here. So let's run the coal like this. And this is a similar thing which we do with the balancers. So here goes. First off, it's really important that this curve shows towards this direction and this curve shows towards this direction before you place down the middle segment, because if you don't, it doesn't work correctly. So I'm going to show it off one more time. So you have this base situation, and let's curve it correctly. Let's go like that, or it doesn't show off. So if we only have one curve and you drop it down like this, this will happen. Doesn't work. If you have no curves at all, this will happen. Once you put it up here, will not work. You have to put both things like this, and then only then the game allows you to put this piece of belt down like this, and that's how it works. All right. It's a little bit weird, and I don't know how long it took me to finally understand or, well, accept that these things work like they work. Because for me, my biggest gripe was at the beginning that it didn't make sense to me how these things worked. But the longer you play the game, the more you understand the underlying mechanics behind these ideas. And if you don't understand them, like I did in the beginning when I started playing this game, so don't worry, I had that problem. I don't know, maybe you don't, but I had it for sure. I just memorized them and started to replicate these little maneuvers. But I try to give you uncomplicated and more sophisticated solutions for your problems, so you can choose on your own how to deal with your factory, because that's the most wonderful thing about this game. You can always do things the way you want, so use that. So here's another variant where I only use one curve and one straight tile. So you can vary these a little bit, and once you get the hang of it, it gets very easy and natural for you. Okay, so next thing we need is of course 12 on each side. So that's 8, 10, and 12. Correct. Correct. So and this is 96 furnaces, by the way. That's a dirty, rotten amount of furnaces which we use for this little project, but we're going to have steel in amounts which we only dreamt of before. Of course, you're also free to construct your iron plates somewhere else and just feed iron plates directly into the smelters. You don't need to do this double layering thing, which I did here. I only do this because it saves space, materials, and inserters, and also I think it's a nice way to showcase some quite simple minifications of your assembly arrays. So there we go. Now the only thing left to do is to feed this monster with its inserters. So let's do this. I hope I have enough on me, but I'm pretty confident. So this time I'm going to test one side before I arrange the other side and mess it up. Alright, but I think this time I got it right. Not sure though. Most of the time you only really find out if something works once you plug it in. Before then, everything else is just theory. So, isn't this too small? So yeah, it's too small. I think this is only half the thing. Of course, we need 24 on each side, because yeah, silly me. But one thing I can do here, we're going to control copy and just help myself with a little ghost pattern here to make things a little bit less complicated. So these are larger things to do, and later on we're able to use more effective smelters, and that gives us the ability to stay with designs that don't grow much larger than this. We're going to grow some a little bit larger than this, of course, but the goal of the game is also not well. No, that's the wrong wording. The game also features lots of options to miniaturize your arrays again. Like later on we get some more effective, efficient smelters, so I can just produce more steel on the same room if I want to, which will be quite awesome. Okay, but I'm very concerned about the amount of inserters on me. Oh boy. But after this, we're going to have a really nice stockpile of steel available for this whole facility, and this is going to be very vital for progress here. I also left up this room here because I certainly plan on upgrading my capacities on steel production with at least a second array later on, because I'm pretty sure that we're going to need that. Oh man, it's sad, but we have to do it. The placing of the power pole just made me a little bit unhappy. Looks so untidy. Sometimes I like tidy, most of the time not, but I don't know, I like tidy power poles. Oh, I forgot to use the long-handed inserters. So there it goes. Alright. So we now check this out. So this produces 1.5 units of steel per second. Wonderful. So we gotta do the same thing now for the other side, but at least that showed me that my inserter configuration was okay. So this way we're having our basic materials now down. I got copper, iron, and steel. Of course, I'm lacking stone, for example, and I'm going to check out my radar panels in a moment, because I'm quite upset about the fact that this planet denies me stone so hard. And oil. I have uranium without end, which is also pretty good, because uranium is your go-to material for larger amounts of power. But oh, well, I don't want them like that. I wanted to have some stones down here. It's going to make everything quite hard if I don't have any stone here. So long-handed inserters are missing on this side. I'm just arranging the power here first, because the iron plates have to be smelted anyways before where we can even think about steel production. So there we go. Look who was wrong. These are having to be... These got to be another direction. So, like I said, you only notice if it really works once you've plugged it in. So, just rotating these boys away. And let's drop down the... Oh, that was not successful at this point. It was one yellow inserter. A very, very silly position. It's too much. Okay. And that's how I like to produce my steel. There are, of course, different methods of doing it. There's never only one method of doing it. But this is certainly one pretty compact and effective way of smeltering your steel. So let's pipe that stuff out and be happy with a steady stream of steel. Alright, so let's check it out. Going to let the steel run over here. I leave very, very large amounts of space between those. Your main transport bus area is allowed to be large, you know. You don't lose anything. Remember what I said before. Plan your facilities large enough to accommodate room for improvements and for new ideas and such. So let's do one thing that I forgot to do all the time. Let's connect the other iron plate smelter column, and then we're going to check out if there's stone somewhere. I mean, once I have the stone nailed down, I'm going to do a brick smelter column comparable to these. There we were. So there's I think I'm going to do that off camera, because there's really not much to say about that topic. It's just you know how these look like by now, and the basic concept doesn't change. It is quite an effective and easy way to do it like that. Alright, so let's check out if the stone crisis has resolved by now. Doesn't look like it. So I think I'm going to drop down a radar panel or two in the vicinity. I mean, if everything lets me down, there's still this big old stone patch available by train later on, and I'm going to use the smaller one and pipe it down here. It is not ideal, but it is better than nothing, and you don't need stone in these tremendously large amounts. So Next thing on the plate is the electronic circuit. I'm using Helmod here to bring in the calculations again because I'm a lazy guy, as you know. So here we go. We're going to need 15 assemblers for these. We're going to cut it into blues because I like to use blue ones. So 25 assemblers. As you might notice here, it's 10 assemblers to 15 assemblers. That's a 2 to 3 ratio, which means every 3 assemblers of copper cable satisfy 2 assemblers of electronic circuits. And this is going to be what we're facilitating here. And again, this has to be split into 2 sides because we're producing 15 units of electronic circuits. That means we have to split it into 2 arrays. And as usual, it will make sense in a moment. But first off, we have to talk about where I'm going to build those circuits. And the answer for me is quite simple. I love to build my green circuits as close to the beginning of the main bus as possible, because green circuits are a material which is needed on so many instances in the future. It's the electronic circuit is basically like comparable to steel. I would really love to compare it to steel. Steel is also very, very present in a lot of advanced products, and electronic circuits will be used for a lot of machines. They will get upgraded into different colors of electronic circuits. We need them for so many things that it's safe to say that you never do anything wrong if you set up a facility for electronic circuits at the head of your base. You're going to need to use them, don't worry. So I'm just bombing away a little bit of the forest here, which is right now standing in my way. So we're going to produce our green electronic circuits around here. So let's put up a tag for that, and there we go. Circuits. I'm going to start with a little array here of 15 units per second, which is basically 1 belt. I'm not sure if we're going to get that into this episode today, but well, I mean, I'm just going to show you the basic design, and from there on, after that it's rinse and repeat. And I think I'm going to show you the basic design and then build the whole facility for 15 per second off camera, so I can showcase the results at the beginning of the next episode, because that feels to me like a method where you don't miss anything except for my grindy build-up face, which is not that entertaining. Alright, so here we are. I think I have fought back the forest enough now, and as you see here, we're going to need more than 1 belt of copper plate. This I'll need to amp up my production in the future. I'm going to need another smelter column, because right now we're only producing 15 units of copper plate. But it's not that terrible. It only means that I won't be able to maximize the output out of that for the time being. So I'm already respecting the imaginary line of the materials here. And this is how your main bus in general works. You use it by adding just some splitters in and grabbing some materials where you need them, and just go like this. So let's build us some of these bad boys. Well, no. Again, just go for packs of 5 by right-clicking. And let's talk about the electronic circuits as soon as I have the blue assemblers done. Alright, pack of 5. Nice. So it works like that. I'm going to get those together like that before. Okay. So your basic electronic circuit consists out of iron plates and copper cables. Oh, that was silly of mine. I don't need it like that. So the basic idea here is... oh no, I leave it like that. Sorry, I was still doing the same mistake that I love to do. let's not do the logistics first. So I'm going to route it like that. Okay. So first off, we have our 3 machines like that, and then we have 2 machines like that. Alright, it'll look like that. It's one of my favorite patterns to assemble things. Again, shift right click to copy it, shift left click to paste it. Recipes, again, shift right click, shift left click. And we're now going to connect this with the copper plates. And the iron has to be routed this way. Now that I notice how I'm going to do it. So these replacements are only the results because like I said, I should have placed down the machines before I started branching off resources. It's a much more effective way of doing it. So there's the thing about this recipe, you'll need iron plates for it as well. So we're having this assembly line which goes like that in this scenario. So it'll make sense in a second. But this is one of my favorite patterns for electronic circuits, and it never did let me down ever. So as you see here, I'm just mirroring the same thing here. And of course we're going to need copper on the other side of that too. Later we're going to I'm going to regulate the copper intake once I have more material available, but right now I don't have that, so forgive me please for being a little bit inefficient here. I'm well aware that this is not enough material. I would prefer to have a intake of like 15 on each side, but for now we only have 7.5 on each side, but that's going to be okay. So first off, we're going to use fast inserters on this one because I don't want to twiddle around with the weak stuff anymore. So there we go, picking up some of those. But it's really nice to have all the materials now present at my disposal. All right, so first comes the intake of those. Now, if we look at the machines like there, every one of those machines needs 2 fast inserters for the copper cable. So I'm going to connect it like that. So every machine of these has access to 1 machine exclusively and 1 machine which is shared between these 2 machines. And this way, well, if there's a better way to do it, I'm pretty sure there's a better way to do it because there's almost every time a better way to do it. But if there's a better way to do it, I think it's I think it's safe to say that you're not going to make any bad mistakes with this build. The only thing is it is quite resource intense to let it run like that. So there we go. This is going to output already 6 units of green circuit per second. This is one of the this is one array which will later on profit massively from the use of fast transport belts, which will bring us the capacity of 30 items per second, so I'm able to satisfy everything quite well. So what I'm going to do here for the time being is I'm going to leave it like that. 6 units of electronic circuits per second are a wonderful amount to begin with, and if I need more, as you see here, this is a wonderful system that can be just copied time and time again to amp up your production if necessary. And the best thing about it, once it is armed with red belts, right now, let's check it here, we're getting a output of 6 units per second. This is the number 6 goes 5 times into 30, which means you can copy this 5 times, and then you have a assembly array which satisfies a red belt completely and provides 30 units of electronic circuits in one go. Alright, enough of the promotion. I think you already might have noticed that I like what I do here, and maybe you'll like it too. I certainly hope so. Alright, friends, so sadly it is already about time to say goodbye for today. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. And if so, leave a like on this video, leave a comment. All these things help so much to show Google and, well, it's YouTube, but Google is YouTube basically, that you like what you see here, and this helps to promote this channel even more. So every subscription helps me to make more content for you basically. But nevertheless, even if you don't click anything, I don't mind at all. I'm so happy that you watched this. Thanks for that. Hope you're coming back again for more when we just build more of those wonderful things. I think next episode we're going to get closer to doing real factory things. So now then, that's all about it for today. I hope you're having a wonderful time, and until we see each other again, goodbye.